Alright guys, I just wanted to go over a few things real quick while we're trying to get ready for our benchmark. Throughout this, I want you to pay attention. I'm going to throw a couple curveballs out there, and if you catch them, then there's a short quiz at the on Classroom that I'm going to be posting with this video, and as you complete the video, take the quiz. Now, you absolutely have to watch the entire video in order for you to be able to answer all the quiz questions correctly. So don't just try to take the quiz and get away with it, because it won't make any sense if you don't watch the video. So here we go. First and foremost, real quick, we talked a lot about this, but fact versus opinion. Facts, anything that can be proved. So I'll give examples in a minute. Opinion, things that don't have a single answer or maybe cannot be proved. For example, she was as beautiful as the bright morning sun. Or she had straight A's. One of those is an opinion, and one of those is a fact. So ask yourself, what can I prove? Okay, well, first, I can prove she had straight A's. You can go find a report card and prove that that's what she has. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. She was as beautiful as the bright morning sun. First tip off here is whenever you use a metaphor, usually that's an opinion. So as we're looking at this, he compares her, she, to the bright morning sun. Is she literally the bright morning sun? No, so it's not a fact. And so as you look at some of the things on the benchmark tomorrow, you need to think to yourself, what can I prove, and what is something that is just someone's opinion, something that can't be proven. Moving on. Here's a little passage that I've had this on the page for a while. The higher you soar, the smaller you will appear to those on the ground. I love this quote. It's good stuff. But I want to use this to have you try to decipher what exactly it means. So I put a few options on here. First, it could that people have a hard time seeing things far away. So you could look at that answer and look at the quote and say, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you look far away, if people are way up in the sky, yeah, it's going to be hard to see them. But we need to ask ourselves, what is the author trying to teach us? Not what is the author saying, which are often two different things. Second, people often cannot join those who cannot fly. Okay, sure, I guess that makes sense. If you can't fly, you can't join people who are off the ground. Is that something that an author's trying to teach us? Probably not. I think it's sort of a given and not really worth teaching. I look up in the sky, I see a bird, I'm probably not going to get all depressed that I can't fly with the bird. I know I can't, so I deal with it. C, do not try to make yourself better than other people. That could be it. But again, you have to look into the text. So the higher you soar, well, does it mean literally soaring, or does it mean, okay, you put yourself high above people maybe? The smaller you will appear. When you think of someone as small, this is often a diss. You might say, oh, you're very small. Well, that's saying you're large. And so if someone's large, they're in charge. If someone's small, they're punitive. They're not that important. So that's what you're saying. And then last, be yourself. The higher you soar, the smaller you will appear to those on the ground. Be yourself. Still maybe, but I personally like answer C. One, because I wrote it, and two, because it best reflects what an author might be trying to teach us. That figuratively, which means not literally, figuratively, the higher you soar. So if you put yourself way above people, if you're always talking about how awesome you are and you put yourself up, and the people around you won't think much of you. If you walk around thinking you're all that and make yourself awesome, people are more than likely going to say, okay, yeah, okay, and just think that you're cocky and not want to deal with you at all. So I would probably answer C. Again, you're going for author's purpose, not for what the author's saying. So remember that as you go through the test tomorrow. So if auto means self, and bio means living, and graph means words, oh, I messed up. Probably need to put that in quotation marks like I did everything else. Anyways, and graph means words. So we have auto means self, bio means living, and graph means words. Which word means a self-written work of a person's life? Well, let's take those things and kind of put them together. So bio autograph. Well, first off, that's not anything. So we're trying to figure out What's self-written? Okay, which word has self? Okay, self. So auto, work of a person's life. So bio means living, so that's probably life, and then words is work. Okay, so it needs to incorporate all those things in order to mean a self-written work. So let's look at these and let's take them out. So autobiography, automation, autobook, audition. Well, I'm personally going to knock this one off because auto or audition is different than auto. So it's probably not that. So let's just remove that. So now we've got down to 3. So we have autobiography, automation, and autobook. Could it be autobook? I believe so. But we know what auto means. It means self and then book. Well, book just means book. And so when I look at that, do I want to say, okay, autobook means a written work of a person's life? No. You're just talking about a self-book. So it's probably not that. So then we look at autobiography or automation. Automation, we don't know what mation means. You might, but you don't. So self-mation, I don't know. Mation might mean motion, maybe. So self-motion, does that have anything to do with the written work? Probably not. Autobiography, oh look, auto, bio, graph. Oh look, graph's right there, bio's right there, auto's right there. So that word probably means a self-written work of a person's life. So you take automation out of the equation, and bam, you've got your answer. So remember, as you're looking at them tomorrow, and there's a few questions on this, you need to be able to look at what they've given you, use those words. Rhyme scheme. Again, go into poetry, and we haven't really covered this much. This should all be review. Poetry's 4th quarter for us, but why not kind of have a refresher? Rhyme scheme. So if we have this 4 different lines of a poem, not different lines, but 4 lines together, what do we call that? A stanza. So in this one stanza, we have rhyming. A man of words and not of deeds is like a garden full of weeds. So the question would be, well, in all of this, sorry, I don't want that in there. In all of this, which 2 lines rhyme together? Or what is the rhyme scheme? Well, the rhyme scheme could be which words or lines rhyme. Well, line 1 does not rhyme with line 2, or line 3, or line 4. Okay. Line 2 does not rhyme with 1, does not rhyme with 2. Oh, look, it rhymes with line 4. So I would say lines 2 and 4 rhyme, which makes them the rhyme scheme is 2, 4. So if I thought about this, probably if there were more stanzas after this, it would follow the same rhyme scheme, that 1 and 3 don't have to rhyme, but 2 and 4 probably would. So you need to look at the ending word and determine if it rhymes. If you have an issue with this, say it out loud, and you'll hear it. Last but not least, I just want to review what a conflict is. When we're looking at a story, conflict has several definitions. Let's go over this. To come into collision or disagreement, be contrary, at variance, in opposition. That's a word I understand. Opposition means, or clash. So if I'm fighting with a friend, that's a conflict. Something is going against something else. So as you're reading something, you need to look at it and say, okay, when is the point of this story that something starts going against something else? And that would be the conflict. Now, that something else could be anything. So it could be me fighting another person. It could be me in conflict with myself. So let's say I have an addiction to Coca-Cola. Then I could be fighting that addiction. So really, I have a conflict with myself or a conflict with Coca-Cola. So that's me battling something else. Now, you need to be able to identify it could be other things. This television show I was watching has a superhero and a bad guy. And so those guys are in conflict. That's the fight that's going on. That's the opposition. That's the battle that's happening. That's the struggle that's happening. And last but not least, as we review some things, I do want you to remember or study your plot diagrams. So I need you to be able to identify rising, falling action, resolution, conflict, all of those things. And you're probably going to have to know 1 or 2 of those things as you go through your test tomorrow. So this video is almost 10 minutes. Study up. take the quiz today to help you study. It's a completion grade, so don't worry about actually getting them right. Just worry about getting it studied. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.